Okay, so anyone else out there ever feel like just a little uneasy when they take their car to the mechanic?
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on, 2/3 of people just don't trust auto shops.
Right.
But
Yeah.
is it all really as bad as we think it is?
Well, it's true. The auto repair industry has a reputation, you know,
Yeah.
a little bit shady.
It's kind of a necessary evil, though, right?
Goose.
We got to get our cars fixed.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere.
Hopefully not too often.
That's right.
But today, we're going to do a deep dive into some material that really kind of lays bare, like 13 of the most common ways that mechanics will try to scam you.
That's right.
So if you're listening to this,
Take notes.
you might be able to save yourself
Yeah.
hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to get into this.
Me too.
Let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Scam numero uno.
Okay.
The urgent fluid flush.
Yeah.
So picture this. You're at the shop already, probably a little nervous, right?
A little bit, yeah.
And the mechanic, he's like, oh my gosh, your coolant.
Oh, no.
It looks terrible. We need to flush this immediately.
Classic.
What's the deal with that?
That's a scare tactic. You know,
Yeah.
they know you're not a mechanic and they're hoping that you just panic
Yes.
and say, okay, do whatever you got to do.
Oh gosh, yeah, just fix it.
Just fix it, please.
I don't want to be stranded on the side of the road.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that most fluids in your car, they're designed to last way longer than some mechanics will tell you.
Oh, yeah. Way longer.
We're talking like 50,000 miles.
Yeah, 50,000, easy.
Even up to like 100,000?
For some fluids, absolutely.
For some fluids.
Yeah.
So why are they trying to get me to flush it at 30,000 miles?
They're sneaky.
Yeah.
And they might show you a dirty sample.
Whoa.
But guess what? There's no guarantee it even came from your car.
Oh.
So you really,
So shady.
you got to be proactive.
Yeah. How do we be proactive about this?
Don't be afraid to push back.
Oh, yeah.
Ask for proof.
Ooh.
A simple test strip or a lab report can tell you if the fluids actually need to be replaced.
So I can say, hey, can I see the lab report?
Yeah. And if they hesitate
Okay.
or get defensive,
Uh-oh.
that's a big red flag.
Noted.
Yeah.
Don't flush without evidence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Simple.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the fluids. Now, what about that other moment that every driver dreads? The check engine light.
Oh, that little light.
That little light can induce so much anxiety.
Oh, so much stress. And you know what? Mechanics know it.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
I always assume the worst.
It's natural to worry, but
Yeah.
the EPA estimates that 10% of check engine lights
Really?
are actually for like really minor issues.
Get out of here.
Stuff you could easily fix yourself.
Like what?
Sometimes.
Give me an example.
It's as simple as a loose gas cap
What?
or a dirty air filter.
So I could be freaking out over a loose gas cap.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. You got to know what that light is really trying to tell you.
Yeah, how do we do that?
So there's this tool called an OBD2 scanner,
Okay.
and that can be your best friend here.
Sure.
They're pretty inexpensive, like $20.
Okay.
And you just plug it into your car.
Where's the port?
It's usually right under the steering wheel,
Okay.
and it'll give you like the exact code that's triggering the light.
And then what?
You Google it.
You're kidding?
You'd be amazed.
So you don't have to be like a code expert. You
Well-
can just Google it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, for example, you see a code P0455
Okay.
that usually means your gas cap is loose.
No way.
You just tighten it,
All right.
you're good to go.
So simple.
Right.
Okay, so check the code,
Yeah.
maybe Google it, and maybe you don't even have to go to the mechanic.
Sometimes.
Okay, I like it.
What if it's P0171?
What's that one?
That one might be like a dirty air filter.
Okay.
Pick one up at the auto parts store.
Yeet.
Swap it out yourself.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Minutes. I'm learning so much already.
Right.
So we talked about fluids, check engine light. What's next?
Unnecessary air filter replacements.
Oh, I've seen this one.
Oh,
They
yeah.
come out with the filter and they're like
Oh, it's disgusting.
black. It's just like,
Right.
your filter must be just as bad.
And here's the catch.
What?
That dirty filter may not even be from your car.
What?
Some mechanics keep one on hand just for show.
Oh my
It's
God.
so deceptive.
Is that even legal?
Well, it works.
Ugh.
The Car Care Council says 1 in 4 drivers get tricked
Mm-hmm.
into replacing their air filter too early.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, so how do we avoid falling for this one?
Check the air filter yourself
Okay.
before you go.
How do you do that?
It's easy. Pop the hood, locate the air filter housing.
Where is that?
It's usually like a black rectangular box.
Okay.
Open it up, take a look.
Okay.
If it looks dirty,
Yeah.
you can replace it yourself.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Any other tips for this one?
Pro tip, take a picture of your current air filter before you go.
Wow.
That way, if they try to pull the switcheroo,
You've got evidence.
you got proof.
That's brilliant.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so we've covered the urgent fluid, flush, the check engine light, the dirty air filter trick. What's next?
Synthetic oil.
Ooh.
This one's a little tricky.
Okay.
Because synthetic oil does offer some benefits.
Yeah.
But mechanics often oversell those benefits.
Oh, I see the old upsell.
And they push it on drivers who don't really need it.
Yeah. Is synthetic oil ever actually necessary?
It depends on the car.
Okay.
Your driving habit.
Okay.
While synthetic oil does perform better
Yeah.
in extreme temperatures,
Yeah.
can extend the life of your engine.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a must-have for every car.
Really?
In fact, Consumer Reports says 75% of cars run perfectly fine on conventional oil.
So I could be wasting money on synthetic.
You could be.
How do I know if I need it or not?
The key is to check your owner's manual. It will tell you what type of oil is recommended for your car.
Okay.
You can also check the oil cap.
Mm-hmm.
It usually specifies the type of oil, too.
So if my owner's manual says conventional oil is fine, I should stick with that.
Absolutely.
Even if the mechanic tries to convince me otherwise?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Mechanics often push synthetic because it means higher profits for them. Unless your owner's manual specifically calls for it, or you're driving a high-performance car, or you're towing heavy loads, you're probably better off sticking with conventional.
Okay, so we've learned to be wary of the unnecessary fluid flushes.
Yeah.
To check our own engine codes, inspect our air filters, and not be pressured into synthetic.
That's right.
Unless we really need it. What's next?
Let's talk about brake pads.
Ooh.
This is another area where mechanics love to use scare tactics.
Okay, so like when they tell you your brake pads are like dangerously thin.
Dangerously thin.
And they need to be replaced immediately.
Right. They're playing on your fear of having an accident.
Right. Of course. Who wants to get in an accident because of their brake pads?
Nobody.
Yeah. But how do we know if we really need new brake pads?
First of all, don't panic.
Okay.
You can ask to see the measurements yourself.
Oh, okay.
Any reputable mechanic will be happy to show you the thickness of your brake pads using a caliper or a gauge.
Okay.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration considers pads above 3 millimeters to be safe.
Okay.
But some shops will try to convince you to replace them when they're still at 5 millimeters or even higher.
Wow. What if they refuse to show me the measurement?
That's a huge red flag.
Okay.
You should also listen for any unusual noises.
Like what?
Like squeaking or grinding.
Okay.
Pay attention to how your car feels when you brake.
Okay.
You feel any vibrations or pulsing in the brake pedal, that could be a sign
Got it.
that your pads are worn down.
Okay, so be aware of the scare tactics. Ask for proof.
Yep.
Pay attention to how my car feels anything else.
Many cars are equipped with wear indicators.
Oh.
That will make a noise when your brake pads are getting low.
Good to know.
You can check your owner's manual to see if your car has them.
Okay, so speaking of being misled, what about dealerships pushing those expensive factory parts?
Yeah.
Is it true that using anything else will void my warranty?
That's a common myth.
Is it?
Dealerships love to perpetuate it. It's simply not true.
Really?
The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act,
Okay.
which is a federal law,
Okay.
states that you can use aftermarket parts without voiding your warranty as long as the parts are of comparable quality
Okay.
and the work is done correctly.
So I don't have to pay inflated prices for parts just because they have the manufacturer's logo on them.
Exactly.
That's great news for my wallet.
Aftermarket parts can be just as good as OEM parts, and they're often significantly cheaper. Don't be afraid to ask your mechanic if there is a quality aftermarket option available.
Okay, and is there anything I should be aware of when choosing aftermarket parts?
The most important thing is to make sure the parts are certified by a reputable organization.
Like what?
Like the National Automotive Parts Association. This ensures that the parts meet certain quality and performance standards.
Okay, got it.
And always check your warranty paperwork.
Okay.
It'll likely say genuine or equivalent parts are acceptable.
Okay, great advice. All right, so we've tackled fluid flushes.
We have.
Check engine light air filters. Synthetic oil brake pads.
Yes.
Even factory parts.
Yes.
What other scams do we need to be aware of?
Let's talk about a scam that's particularly frustrating.
Okay.
Overcharging for simple fixes.
Ooh, I have a feeling I'm going to relate to this one.
I think we all have. It's when mechanics take advantage of people who may not be comfortable doing basic car maintenance themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I see where you're going with this, like changing a cabin air filter.
Yes.
Wiper blades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are jobs
Yeah.
that literally anyone can do
Right.
with a little guidance.
Yeah.
But mechanics will charge outrageous prices
They do.
because they know many people won't even question it.
It's true, and it's ridiculous.
It is.
I can't tell you how many times I've overpaid for that kind of stuff.
Me too.
What can we do about it?
This is where YouTube becomes your best friend.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
I've never even thought about that.
Tons of videos
Yeah.
that walk you through these simple maintenance tasks step by step.
All right, I'm going to have to check that out.
You can save so much money by doing it yourself.
All right, so we are being savvy consumers.
Yeah.
We're checking YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning how to do this stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
So we've learned to be wary of unnecessary fluid flushes.
Right.
Decode our own check engine lights.
Yes.
Inspect our air filters. Be cautious about the synthetic oil recommendations.
Right.
Even tackle simple fixes ourselves.
That's right.
What else is out there?
Unfortunately, there are still more scams.
Oh, no.
To be aware of.
What's next?
Let's talk about phantom repairs.
Phantom repairs.
Yeah, when a shop claims to have done work
Uh-huh.
that never actually happened.
Isn't that just straight up fraud?
It is.
Wow.
And it's sadly more common than you might think.
Really?
The Federal Trade Commission estimates that Americans lose a staggering $2 billion
$2 billion
annually to auto repair fraud.
Wow. That's crazy.
Phantom repairs are a big part of that.
Okay, so how do they get away with it?
They might claim they replaced a part,
Oh,
like a fuel pump or a timing belt, when in reality they did absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Or they might say they performed a service,
Okay.
like a transmission flush when they didn't.
So basically they're just lying.
Pretty much.
Wow. So how do we protect ourselves from this?
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay. Demand specifics.
Like what?
If they say they replaced a part,
Yeah.
ask to see the old one.
Oh, okay.
Any reputable shop
Yeah.
should be happy to show it to you.
What if they say they already threw it away?
Pushback. Say something like, I always like to keep my old parts for my records.
Oh, okay. See how they react.
Exactly.
What else can we do?
It's also a good idea to request before and after photos.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If it's something like a repair to an internal component,
Okay.
a visual record can really help.
Right.
If you need to dispute a charge later,
Okay, so ask for photos. What about the invoice?
scrutinize it carefully.
What should we be looking for?
Look for vague terms,
Right.
like adjusted components or system service.
Yeah.
If they can't clearly explain what they did,
Yeah.
you have every right to dispute the charge.
All right. Good to know. This is all great advice. I'm already getting more savvy just talking about this.
That's the goal.
The more you know,
Uh-huh.
the harder it is for them to take advantage of you.
Right. Speaking of taking advantage.
Yeah.
What about that classic line? If you don't get this service done at the dealership, it'll void your warranty.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've heard that one a million times.
Dealerships love to use that scare tactic.
Right.
Keep you coming back to them
Mm.
for even basic maintenance.
Yeah.
But as we discussed earlier,
Right.
the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act
Yeah.
protects your right
Okay.
to get your car serviced wherever you choose.
So I can take my car to an independent shop.
Yeah.
For an oil change
Yeah.
or even like a more complex repair.
Yep.
And not worry about my warranty.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know.
The key is to keep records.
All right.
Make sure you get a detailed receipt
Okay.
that lists the date of service, type of service performed, and the parts that were used.
Okay. So I'm making a note. Keep all my receipts.
That's right.
Okay.
And if a dealer does try to deny a warranty claim,
Yeah.
be sure to push back. You can also file a complaint
Okay.
with the Federal Trade Commission.
Got it. So we've learned to question those urgent fluid flushes.
Right.
Decode our own check engine lights.
Yep.
Be wary of dirty air filter tricks.
Uh-huh.
And stand our ground when it comes to synthetic oil brake pads.
Yes.
And even factory parts, we also know to scrutinize invoices
That's right.
for phantom repairs and not be bullied by dealerships about our warranty.
Exactly.
What else do we need to watch out for?
Let's move on to some of the more outlandish scams.
Outlandish.
It's like fake products or services.
Hold on, like what?
You ever heard of blinker fluid?
Blinker fluid. Is that a real thing?
It's not.
It's not.
It's a joke
Oh my God.
within the industry.
Okay.
But you'd be surprised
Yeah.
how many people fall for these kinds of scams
Right.
because they simply don't know any better.
Right.
Mechanics might try to sell you things like premium windshield washer fluid
Oh, yeah?
with some fancy-sounding formula,
Right.
when in reality, it's the same stuff you can buy at the gas
They're
station.
like $2.
Exactly.
So they're banking on our lack of knowledge.
Exactly.
Or they might try to convince you that your fuel injectors need cleaning.
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
Even though I've heard that, like, modern fuels already have additives
Right.
that do that.
It's all about inflating the bill.
Right, with unnecessary services.
Right.
Okay, what about those headlight restoration kits?
Oh, yeah.
They try to sell, like, I feel like that's another one they mark up like crazy.
Absolutely. They might charge you $100 or more
Yeah.
for a kit that you can buy online or at the auto parts store for $10.
Seriously.
And it's not rocket science.
Right.
You can easily do it yourself.
Yeah. So how do we avoid falling for these tricks?
It really comes down to common sense
Okay.
and research.
Right.
If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
It probably is.
And if you're unsure about a product or service,
Yeah.
take some time to look it up online.
So Google it.
A quick Google search can save you a lot of money.
Okay, so be skeptical of miracle products.
Yep.
Do my research and never agree to buy blinker fluid.
Exactly.
Got it. All right.
Now let's move on to a scam
Okay.
that can be particularly costly.
Yeah.
The shock and strut upsell.
Oh, I've definitely heard mechanics talk about shocks and struts, but honestly, I have no idea what they do.
They're a critical part of your suspension system,
Okay.
and they help to control your car's movement
Okay.
and absorb bumps in the road.
I'll look at that.
The problem is,
Yeah.
mechanics often recommend replacing them
Oh.
based on mileage alone.
So they might say you've hit 60,000 miles.
Yep.
Time for new shocks and struts.
Exactly.
Okay, but shocks and struts don't just wear out based on mileage?
No, they wear out
Right.
based on driving conditions.
Yeah.
If you drive on a lot of rough roads or hit a lot of potholes,
Yeah,
your shocks and struts are going to wear out faster.
that makes sense.
So how do we know
Yeah, how we know?
if they actually need replacing? There's a simple test you can do yourself.
Oh, really?
Press down firmly
Okay.
on each corner of your car.
Okay.
If it bounces more than twice after you let go,
Okay.
your shocks or struts might need attention,
And if it settles quickly?
then you're probably good.
Okay.
You should also pay attention to how your car feels when you're driving.
Okay.
You feel like it's bouncing excessively
Okay.
or swaying a lot in turns.
Yeah.
That could be a sign that your shocks or struts are worn out.
Okay. I'm going to be doing a lot of bouncing tests from now on.
Get those arms ready.
All right. What happens if my mechanic insists I need new shocks and struts, even though I don't feel any problems, and my car passes the bounce test?
Don't be afraid to get a second opinion.
Right.
Shocks and struts can be expensive to replace.
Yeah, they are.
So you want to make sure you actually need them
Yeah.
before you shell out the cash.
Good advice. So we've covered fake products. We know how to test our shocks and struts, and we're always getting that second opinion if something feels off.
Right.
What's next?
Let's talk about labor costs.
Labor costs.
Okay. This one can be sneaky
Okay.
because it's not always a blatant scam.
What do you mean?
Many shops charge
Yeah.
based on what's called book time.
Book time.
That's a standardized estimate
Okay.
of how long a particular repair should take.
Right.
But experienced mechanics can often do the job much faster.
But I still end up paying for the full book time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can really inflate your bill.
Right. So let's say replacing an alternator.
Yeah.
Is estimated to take 2 hours.
Uh-huh.
An experienced mechanic might be able to do it in an hour,
Right.
but you'll still be charged for the full 2 hours.
You got it.
So how can we avoid overpaying for labor?
Before you agree to any work,
Okay.
do some research.
Okay.
Websites like Repair Pal and Your Mechanic can
Right.
give you an idea of what a fair labor rate is
Okay.
for a particular repair in your area.
So I can check beforehand
Yep.
what a reasonable price would be.
Exactly.
Okay. And then what?
Don't be afraid to negotiate.
Oh, really?
If a shop is quoting you a price
Yeah.
that's significantly higher
Okay.
than what you found online,
Right.
ask if they can come down a bit.
Oh, okay. I always feel so awkward negotiating, but I guess it's my money.
It is.
So we're being smart about labor costs.
Yep.
Doing our research.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to negotiate.
That's right.
What's the final scam we need to be on the lookout for?
This one is designed to lure you in with
Yeah.
the promise of something for nothing.
Okay.
The free inspection trap.
Free.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, as they say,
Well-
there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
These free inspections are often just a way to pressure you into unnecessary repair.
So they offer a free inspection, hoping to find something wrong, even if it's minor.
Oh, man.
And they'll often exaggerate the problem or even make something up entirely to scare you into getting it fixed right away.
That's terrible. I actually had a friend who fell for that.
Oh, no.
They went in for a free inspection, ended up with a $500 repair bill for something that wasn't even broken.
It's a classic bait and switch tactic.
Ah.
And it can be very effective.
Yeah.
Because people let their guard down when they think they're getting something for free.
Right, of course. So how can we avoid falling for this trap?
First of all,
Yeah.
be very skeptical of any shop that offers free inspections.
Okay.
It's almost always a red flag.
Good point.
And never, ever agree to any repairs on the spot.
Why not?
Because you need time to think it over
Okay.
and get a second opinion if necessary.
So if they're pressuring me to get something fixed right away, that's a bad sign.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take your time, do your research.
Okay.
Don't let anyone rush you into a decision that you're not comfortable with. That's great advice. Okay, so we've learned about a lot of scams today.
We have.
It's kind of overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot, right?
It is.
But I'm actually feeling a lot more confident just like talking through all this.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, right?
It really is.
Like forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Absolutely. And remember, we've only just scratched the surface here.
Right?
There are like countless variations on these scams.
Oh, God.
And new ones are always popping up.
Oh, great. So how do we stay ahead of the game then?
The most important thing is to stay informed.
Okay.
Keep learning about your car, how it works, what kind of maintenance it needs.
So, like, where do we go for that? Are there good resources you recommend?
There are some great websites and forums out there where you can, like, learn from other car owners, get advice from experienced mechanics.
Like what? Give me some examples.
RepairBall and Car Talk are both good places to start.
Okay. Check those out. What else?
Never underestimate the power of word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Ask your friends, family, colleagues for recommendations.
That's a good point. I always ask my friends for doctor recommendations.
Yeah.
But I never thought to do that for mechanics.
It's just as important.
Okay.
You want to find a mechanic who you trust.
Right.
Who you feel comfortable communicating with.
Okay, so stay informed, do my research, ask for recommendations, find a mechanic who I trust. Got it. What about when we're actually at the shop? Any tips for navigating that interaction?
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
The more you understand about what's going on with your car and why a particular repair is being recommended, the less likely you are to be taken advantage of.
I used to be so intimidated to ask questions. I didn't want to sound stupid.
I get it.
You know.
But a good mechanic
Yeah.
should be happy to answer your question
Okay.
and explain things in a way that you understand.
That makes sense. So if they get impatient or try to brush off my questions, that's another red flag.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A trustworthy mechanic wants you to be an informed customer.
You know, I think the most important takeaway for me today is just to be more proactive.
Yeah.
I've always been so passive when it comes to car repairs.
I think a lot of people are.
You know, I just take my car to the shop and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But I realize, you know, it's my car.
It is.
And it's my money.
Exactly.
So I should be a little bit more, you know, in charge of the situation.
You have more control
Yeah.
than you think.
Don't be afraid to advocate for myself.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think this has been super helpful.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we've learned about 13 common mechanic scams and how to spot them.
We have.
We've talked about the importance of empowering ourselves with knowledge,
Yes.
asking for proof.
Uh-huh.
And we've emphasized the golden rule of always getting a second opinion.
That's right.
Armed with this information,
You got this.
I think I do.
You're ready to face any mechanic with confidence.
I really feel that way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. I know I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
It's been my pleasure.
And remember, everybody,
Yeah.
there are honest mechanics out there.
Absolutely.
Don't let these scams discourage you from finding one who will treat you and your car with respect.
That's right.
To all of our listeners out there, we want to hear from you.
Yes.
Have you ever encountered any of these scams? What strategies have you used to avoid getting ripped off? Share your experiences in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah. The more we share our knowledge and experiences, the better equipped we'll all be to navigate the world of car repairs.
That's right. We're all in this together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into mechanic scams. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep those engines running smoothly.
Keep them running.